All right. Welcome back. Another episode of ifitbeyourwill podcast, season 4. This is my first guest from Norway. And I'm really happy to welcome this, rising artist, I would say, Crybaby Claire. I have Namra Saleem, who is coming in from Norway, who is Crybaby Claire. So far, we have 2 songs that have been released, but hold on, because October 25th, the EP coming out, You Should All Be Crying, will be following. And Namra does very synth-driven indie pop, but it just has a great spirit, great lyrics. So, Namra, thanks so much for coming in and joining me today.
Thank you for having me. And I feel very special that I'm your first Norwegian guest.
First, I'm so happy. I hope that you are not coming in too late at night or too early in the morning.
No, it's 6 o'clock in the evening, so it's actually the perfect time.
Well, it's very lovely to meet you, and I've been really looking forward to talking to you. I kind of like starting though off with a little bit of your history of your music. And before we hopped on here, you were saying that you've lived your life in Norway, maybe moved from a small area into Oslo. How did music start for you? What were your first moments where you can recall where music was blew your mind and just wanted to do that?
I was I feel like I've always loved music, and I always felt like I had rhythm, and I kind of want to. I know I really like to dance. But the playing music came a bit later on because I didn't know that I could make music. I think you had another guest on earlier. I think she was called Julia Sophie, and I kind of I could connect to her because she also talked about starting making music a bit later and not at a very young age. But I have some key moments of when I was in university, just being more and more interested in music and concerts. And I have this memory of someone putting on, we have this thing in Norway that we call nachspiel, which is after you have been out clubbing, then you go home to someone and then you party more.
Kind of like an after party.
Yeah, like an after party. So I went hesitantly to an after party where I didn't even want to be, but I was with a drunk friend and she I felt like I had to take care of her.
Sure.
But anyway, we were at these 2 guys' apartment and they actually didn't even want us there. And then this one guy just put on a music tape, which from a concert. And it was this guy coming out in a huge oversized suit jacket with a cassette player, and then he puts on the cassette and it was Talking Heads.
Right.
That was my oh my God, what is this? This is amazing. But I didn't think that I wanted to be on stage, but that was my first I feel like my mind-blowing experience with music.
Yeah.
And then
was it a particular song that what was the song that you first heard? Do you remember that? Or
it was
they have so many great songs.
Yeah, but it was is it Psycho Killer?
Yes.
Yes, I think it was
Killer.
Psycho Killer. And then there was this, and there was a girl playing the bass guitar also.
Wow.
So I think that's at some point I started learning to play guitar myself and playing bass guitar, and then I started a performance band, which was not serious at all. It was just meant as a fun performance thing. We had 2 concerts. And then later on I moved to Oslo, and then I moved into a collective with it was a vegan collective, even though I'm not vegan, but I was how hard can it be? It was kind of a little bit difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I really liked the people, so I wanted to move in with them, and they wanted me to move in as well. And they were mostly people from a like punk world and straight edge, and they kind of introduced me more to punk music and Riot Grrrls. And that was, I think it was around that time I thought that, oh, I can actually make music myself. Like, you don't have to have gone to a music school. You don't have to
Right.
have that picture perfect angel voice.
Right.
And then I just kind of started from there, I think. And
Okay.
suddenly I was in a band and with like real musicians. And I learned so much. I think I was in that band for 7 years or something. I learned so much from that band. But at some point, I quit that band and then I started my own thing. And then, and now I started Crybaby Claire. Yeah.
Right. And when was it that you first started writing these songs that are going to be on the EP that's coming out at the end of this month?
I think it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
And last year I decided to, I think I really wanted to produce myself. And also I wanted to do like whatever I wanted to do and not be so dependent on other people. So I signed up for, it's almost like a girls rock camp kind of a course thing. It's called UX. I signed up for a course in Ableton so I could learn how to produce myself. And that's around when I started making the
Writing your songs and
songs.
And how did you come to the aesthetic? Because I find it like so intriguing. Like if you go to your Instagram, for example, the color blue is very prominent, and also this fuzz, kind of haze that you like to. Well, the two videos that you had put out, there's this kind of hazy aesthetic to it, and I did read further that you really love these old recording equipment, and you're recording on like old video cameras for your videos. Like, how did you start to come to the idea that you wanted that kind of aesthetic of kind of this old 80s kind of feel coming into your music?
I think, so I've started one project before Crybaby Claire, which is a band called Filthy Burger Girl, and it's pink.
Okay.
That aesthetic is pink. But I've always had the idea of a blue aesthetic in mind. I've always been very inspired of like the visual stuff.
Yeah.
And with both of these music projects, I've always had the idea of the name and the color first, which is kind of weird, and maybe like the concept.
Right. Okay.
But
like you had that in your mind before you even started writing like song lyrics, and like you kind of had this idea of what you wanted and then started to build upon that.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be called Crybaby Claire. I knew it was going to be blue. And I also knew that because what triggered the start of Crybaby Claire was also that I was sad.
Right.
I was in a sad place, and I also felt like I have people around me, but I felt lonely in a way.
Yep.
So I kind of just wanted to express that, and that's how like that kind of. And I actually wanted to make like really, really sad songs, but when I started making the songs, they turned quite dancey. In a way.
Absolutely. That's right. I love the kind of the juxtaposition you have where, I mean, the lyrics, you're correct. They are quite personal, and almost feeling like you're going through a healing process in some ways of just trying to get these ideas out of you and into the world so that you can have more of a perspective on them. But then the music comes in too, and it's just like, I mean, fun and light and airy and danceable for sure. I kind of was thinking it's kind of like synth dream ish kind of style, you know, nice. Like a new genre almost that kind of existed in the past a little bit, and you kind of are resurrecting this this genre or style again. Does that speak to you?
Yes, because I remember I really liked La Tigre, and they
Right.
used like these drum machines. And I also, of course, I like Robin, but there's a earlier song of her called Konnichiwa or something.
Yep.
Maybe maybe it has a swear word after that again.
Okay.
But yeah, you know what song I mean. And it also has like these old drum loops things. And when I started like the other band, I actually wanted to do like these old drums, but then that project turned it into something a bit else. So I always wanted to have these old drum sounds.
Really
And
cool.
then with this project, I could like finally do it, and I could, yeah, do it the way I wanted to.
Right.
So yeah, I am quite nostalgic, I think.
Yeah.
And for me, Crybaby Claire is almost like a experiment project. It's supposed to be like low effort and like, yeah, that's why I'm also not concentrating that much on an album. I'm just thinking like singles and EP, and I want to
Right.
make one more EP where I can do other stuff. So
Right.
yeah.
Is this a project that you see yourself doing long term? Is it something, or do you see it just having a certain amount of length to it?
I think yeah, I think I can see myself doing it long term. I wanted because this is like, yeah, my solo project, and I
Yeah.
think it's nice to have something that is just mine that I can develop in the years to come in a way.
Sure.
And I'm also very inspired by have you heard of the artist Molly Nilsson? She's like she's a Swedish artist.
I'll look it up, but no.
Yeah, but I just I kind of she's existed for a long time, but I just like found out about her
Right.
this year or last year, and I just, yeah, I can connect to her as well. And I just think like she's doing she's a quite DIY artist, and she's,
Right.
yeah, very inspiring as well.
Cool.
So yeah.
And how did like, if we pick out one of the two singles that you put out into the world, how did those songs come to be? Like, what's your writing process like? Or, example, writing Blue, like, is your process always a little bit different, or do you always follow a similar trajectory where you start with this or a line, or like, how does a song like Blue come from an idea to something that you put down on tape?
I think it's some processes are same, and at the same time it's different. But I almost always start with the like music production before I start with the vocals.
Okay.
But yeah, sometimes I can have a vocal idea first, and then so it's, yeah, I don't know. It depends a little bit.
Right.
And it also depends on what I'm feeling mostly inspired by. Before I started Crybaby Claire, I would always start the song with the bass guitar first, always. But now when I started learning Ableton, it was just so inspiring, all the things you can just like program. But with the Blue, I think I start with the musical stuff before. And then when it comes to the vocals and the text, especially, I've tried to think like what comes first, the melody or the text. But I think in my case, it comes very close, like almost at the same time.
Cool.
And I also really like to, what is it called? Like when it's stream of consciousness. So it's almost like a diary. And I've tried because I've heard that you're supposed to work a lot with your lyrics and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite. And I've tried that. And the lyrics become better in a way, but it's not what I want it to be. I feel like they become too fancy in a way.
Right. Too processed.
Or yeah. So I really like it when it's like simple and it is naive and it is coming from a real or inspired from a real place.
Absolutely. sometimes your first take is like the keeper, right? Because it embodies that soul and that authenticness that you might not
Yeah,
get once. Okay, one more take. Okay, one more take, and it kind of
yeah.
like sucks the life out of it.
It does, and I hate when because sometimes I've done the vocals in a studio and that's
mm,
cool, but sometimes I have an idea, I have to just do it at home, but at home it's more like noisy, and I'm thinking, yeah, I can just record these vocals later on, but
mm,
then it's almost like I've lost the soul.
right, right. You lose it, yeah, for sure, for
Very
sure.
annoying.
That's cool. And like, what has been the response from your communities and your people about what you've put out so far? Like, what has
I
been the
think
reaction, and what has been your reaction as well? What do you think about what you've put out so far?
first of all, it was extremely scary because it was the
Hmm.
first time like producing for me, and it was the first time like it was just me alone. So
Yeah,
it's very, very scary.
yeah.
And also, so I decided on the first song, I decided to do a very a soft launch. That
Hmm.
I was afraid that it wasn't, even though I'm saying it's supposed to be low key and low effort, I still started thinking, oh my God, uh, what if it's bad? I don't want to release something bad. And then I got, yeah, I got a little bit cold feet actually. So I just did like a soft launch. I didn't contact that many blogs. But then, of course, afterwards, I always feel really sad when the songs come out because it almost feels you worked really hard with something
Hmm.
and then it's out and then it just feels like the air comes out of the balloon.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
totally. Totally.
but yeah, I've gotten like mostly positive feedback, of course, from my
Yeah.
friends
Yeah. Sure.
and a little bit from small blogs here and there. And yeah, I think it felt safe that way.
Cool.
Yeah.
And are you still feeling that safety on the eve of putting the EP out as well? Like
Yeah,
you're
now I'm
settled with it. You're okay
feeling,
with it. It's like
yeah.
you're excited maybe a bit.
Yeah, now I'm just, yes. I am excited. I'm always excited before. Like I just have to
Right.
get out. Sometimes I find it also difficult working on new songs when I'm in the process of releasing, but also because also as a DIY artist, I'm like doing everything. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to releasing it.
Yeah.
And a little bit also because I think it'll be easier for me to work with new songs as
For
well.
sure. Yeah. Kind of like
But yeah,
past and let's focus now on moving forward. It,
yeah.
it it's very true what you're saying about releases. Like I've talked to many artists and they all have that same sentiment as you expressed of kind of like letting the air out of the balloon. That
Mm,
there's so much buildup and so much effort and concentration put into these songs, and then the release comes and it's like it like evaporates into the air. It's like
yeah.
it's kind of a false closure, right? Because it's still out
Yeah.
there and people are going to be listening to it, but like your work is kind of done, right? Like
Yeah.
it's in everybody else's hands. So, um,
Yeah.
you get the bravery though, like because you were saying, like it's scary and it is scary, particularly when you're opening yourself and putting yourself out there with your own personal stuff.
Mm.
Where did you? What process did you have to go through to find that bravery within to say, I'm doing this? Like, I don't care. I'm going to do it. Like, how did that manifest itself?
Hmm. I don't know. I think that when I was starting my first project,
Mm-hmm.
I was too afraid to do it alone. So then I did it with a friend.
Right.
Uh, and of course, then it turned into not my baby anymore, but like our baby. And it turned into, and I think that gave me a lot of like safety. And I
Mm.
love that project, of course, as well.
Yep.
But then last year, my bandmate got pregnant and she had to give birth. Go on a maternity leave, which is
how
nice.
dare she?
Yeah. So then I knew that, oh my God, there's going to be a break, a little band break. And then at the same time, I lost my job because they were just closing down the Oslo section because they have offices like. So then I didn't have a job, and also, I was kind of depressed. But I think that was the time I was like, okay, but now is the time. I have to use my energy somewhere, and I had already like started a little bit, and then I kind of just did it, and I tried to always remind myself that this doesn't matter. Like I tried to trick myself into this doesn't matter. It's very low key. It's very low effort. We're just going to put it out there. We're not going to overthink it.
I don't care if anybody listens to it. Whatever.
I don't care. I'm not going to be sad if Spotify artists show me that 6 people have only listened to my song so far. Stuff like that.
Don't hold your breath on making money off of Spotify because that just doesn't happen.
Yeah. And then now I'm not holding my breath on that. And now I also have like my first gig, which I was pushed into it because I was also thinking like maybe I will not have that many concerts. Maybe I'll just have like one here and there and be like mysterious. But then suddenly I got a friend of mine kind of like tipped a concert place, and now I'm warming up for a band called Fleur. Have you heard of Fleur?
No, but I will check that out. That's for sure.
It's really, really cool. And it's like so cool that I couldn't even say no. So yeah. So that was before we started recording this, we were talking about that today I went to 3 different flea markets to buy a cassette player. And it's I want to use the cassette player on the concert since I'm going to do it alone and not with a band. I want to have like the tracks on a cassette, like backing tracks. Yeah, that's my plan to make it a little bit more charming, but it's more risky.
What would your setup be then? So you'll put your backing tracks on the cassette, you'll have your synthesizer and your vocal.
I think I will not have the synthesizer because I'm not sure if I can play the synthesizer and sing at the same time at this point because I haven't started. Like I only have 1 month. Yeah, I think I'm going to have backing tracks on the cassette, and then for 2 of the songs I'm going to play a little bit electric guitar just to and then I'll next year I want to spend a little bit more time on how the concerts should be. But I think I have this vision of wanting to do it like more artsy or like theatrical in a way. But great. I don't know.
Cool. Well, congrats on doing that too. I mean, I'm sure it's not easy to say, okay, I'm going to do these things live. And then having to think about, okay, how am I going to do this live?
And also alone. I've never done that. Like stood on the stage playing alone. There's always been a band, or at least the other girl that I was playing with. She like if it duo gigs, but never like alone. So
Well, I wish you a ton of luck with that.
Thanks.
And success. I know you're gonna nail it. Your songs are just so beautiful.
Thank you.
I think that they'll resonate with people very well. So just kind of as we wrap things up, what can we anticipate? So we know that the EP is coming out. You're doing a show. Like, what else is in store for your music for the next, handful of months that you can tell us about?
Yeah, I after this EP, I will start on my next EP. I already have 2 songs. So I have to just make a few more, but I've had like a writer's block for a little while, but I'm just getting out of it. And I think I want to do more maybe have like more elements from my cultural heritage, like one of the songs I've used like these tabla samples, which I'm really excited about. So I think I want to do that more, because that is also one thing that I've always wanted to do, and now I can do it. So so that's the plan. One more EP, and then I don't know what happens after that. But I'm definitely making more music.
And hopefully showing it to people, in front of people as well. I mean, if you feel comfortable with this show, is that something too that you would like to try to replicate again, or try it again?
Yes, for sure. I think it's a great challenge for myself to actually just do it. And I think like I feel a bit more safer now since I have done it with the other band. Right. It's like baby steps towards it's been baby steps towards doing it alone. So I definitely want to do shows more. Yeah.
Well, I love your fight and your dedication and pushing yourself.
Thanks.
Uncomfortable areas sometimes. I mean, it takes a lot of knowing yourself to be able to do something like that. So congrats on this kind of like self-exploration, at the same time sharing it with us so that we can partake in our own exploration and also share in yours as well, which has been really fun listening to your tracks.
Thank you. And
go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying thank you for having me. And yeah, I appreciate it because especially as like a DIY artist, I'm not making music just for myself. It comes alive when it's out there and it communicates to you and the people listening. So it actually means a lot that people like you invite me to their podcasts.
Well, I really enjoyed it. I hope you have too. I loved your origin story as well, and how it all kind of started and the struggles. I mean, I think that you're very relatable to a lot of DIY artists out there that go through similar processes as you're going through. So it's a big world, but sometimes it feels really small, but it's very big. And there are a lot of people out there going through what you're going through and braving it through. So, I mean, good on you on that. I admire you for that, because a lot of people would just stay at home in their bedrooms with their guitars and their synths. So for you to go out and do it is absolutely awesome. So congrats on that. And again, thank you for joining me. This has been a real treat. And I'll be watching, and I'd love to have you back on down the road. We'll see how your EP comes out and the next one evolves, and how shows start evolving. I love starting off with emerging artists as yourself is, because now I get to join your voyage right from the get-go. So thank you.
Thank you.
You have a great day.
You too.
Sometimes I make mistakes, really stupid ones. The stakes are high, I know. Your heart is made of gold, though. I don't know this game. Maybe you can show me, baby, you can hold me. No, I don't know this game. Maybe you can show me, baby, you can hold me. If I could start again, I promise I'll do better.